Campfire Classics is a classic literature podcast. However, your hosts will occasionally use not-so-classy language and immature humor to describe very mature situations. As such, listener discretion is advised. Hi, I'm Ken Sandberg.
And I'm Heather Michelle Lawler.
Welcome to Campfire Classics, where we try to read those books that look really good on your shelf.
It is the week of the Look of the Irish, it is, and Heather's back because Heather is growing on the heather on the hill in the heathers.
Because Heather is feeling lucky and Irish.
I am not so lucky necessarily, but I am feeling very Irish.
Great.
I mean, that's pretty much most days, but there were a lot of drunk people wandering the streets in Green the past few days. So
Yeah, which probably some of them got lucky.
Oh, I'm sure. And some of them will be really unlucky in a few months.
Hopefully they consider it to be good luck in the end.
Your little leprechaun friend. Well, as I said, I'm back. Hello. I took a couple weeks off because the world is hard.
Yeah, life gets crazy.
I received the lovely messages from all the people that were like, we love Heather and we miss Heather. And the podcast is great when Ken reads, but we miss all the dick jokes.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, at least I know what I'm good for. I put that on my resume. Like, you want good adolescent humor? Put me in the thing.
Put me in, coach.
Put me in, coach.
I'm good for making 10-year-old boys laugh.
Yeah. And like 50-year-old boys laugh. And like 40-year-old girls. And, you know, probably it seems like the age spans. Because we're all just children.
Anyone with, generally speaking, a South Parkian style humor.
Mm-hmm. If you grew up on South Park, Beavis and Butthead, Ren and Stimpy, like that era and now beyond, because it's just kind of stuck around. You are our people. So
we also, in addition to We Miss You, we also got, at my request, some pictures of bookshelves.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
I don't even remember what that's about. So.
Well, that was last week while reading.
Okay.
Last week during the intro, I did my my thing about Campfire Classics, where we try to read those books that look really good on your shelf, and I realized that's assuming y'all have bookshelves, because a lot of people don't anymore.
Yeah. Because they all have their books on a Nook or iPad or whatever. Yeah.
Or they just let us read their books to them, and they don't have to bother with a bookshelf because it's our bookshelf. So I requested pictures of bookshelves, and I have not been disappointed. We'll share one or two of those this week just to prove that there are bookshelf pictures floating out there. But if you have a bookshelf that you are particularly proud of and want to share the sorts of things on your bookshelf, go ahead and send us a picture to 5050artsproduction@gmail.com or message us on any of our social media. Let us see what you're reading, even if it's not a bookshelf, even if it's just like a stack of books on your nightstand or something.
How do you store your books?
Yeah.
I mean, like, when my grandparents on my mom's side passed away, I inherited stuff at their house that we got to go. And one of my favorite things at my grandparents' house was in their back room, which was like the TV room where my sister and I would hang while adults were adulting when we were kids. They had these beautiful, like, gold-tipped antique books. I mean, it's basically why I started reading Shakespeare when I did so early, because I thought the book was pretty.
Sure.
And they had that with these leather-bound, like, gold-tipped classics. And also, like, autobiographies and stuff. So my mom took me there, and I got to go through the books, and we have them on our bookshelf.
Yeah.
And I have one section of the bookshelf that is dedicated to those really pretty books, because they're decorative books. I mean, you can read them and they are classics. I mean, there's like, literally we have like 20 or like probably like 15 biographies of like presidents.
Yeah.
But then we also have like The Jungle Book and like The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. And I mean, there's like the Scarlet Letter and like these
books
like
that would fit in really well with this podcast if we were doing long form.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, but they're beautiful, and those are my favorite kinds of books. But yeah, if you just keep your books in your like bedside table, or if you have like a little just one shelf above like your fireplace,
in a shoebox under your bed, hiding it like porn.
Someone just has like what was that?
This is my illicit Poe.
My 50 Shades of Grey box. It's like your Harlequin romance stuff down there with Fabian on the cover. No, Fabian. Fabio. Fabian's the cat at the store right now.
Fabian is the name of the new kitten at the
pet store down the street that's adoptable. That is part of the like kitten cafe around here.
Yeah.
But yeah. Who's a beautiful baby.
Yeah, a little sweet boy.
But on that note, send bookshelves. I like that. That's cool.
Or a screenshot of your Kindle. Like what's on your Kindle library.
Ooh, that's
could do
very
that
personal.
too.
That's very personal.
As if a bookshelf isn't.
I mean, yeah, but you have to like zoom in and stuff. Like, yeah. I mean, it's all very personal.
Yeah.
It's like when you go out on like a first date and you're like, this is very high fidelity of me, but it's like, what are your top 5 records of all time, or top 5 favorite songs of all time?
Yeah.
It's like that says a lot about you, or top 5 favorite television shows, or
Top 5s. Good way to get to know someone.
It really is. That's the Nick Hornby, speaking of books, Nick Hornby high fidelity of it all.
Yeah. So we are back to our regularly scheduled programming, which means this week I have chosen a short story for Heather to read, and along the way we're going to look up words that we don't understand and make fun of the antiquated penis jokes. However, this week we're not calling them penis jokes.
Oh yeah, what
because
letter are we at?
We've been moving through the alphabet, finding euphemistic alliterations. We started with aroused amusement, and then we got to beef curtain belligerence, and then we did cock comedy.
Cock comedy.
We got
that was the last one I heard.
dick deliriousness.
Dick deliriousness. You had not told me that one.
And we got what was last week? It was E, I believe.
Erection.
I settled on ejaculatory entertainment.
Ooh, E has a lot.
Yeah, because erectile would also work nicely.
Erectile amusements or something.
Yeah, entertainment was the easy one there, but
you got it.
Between erection and ejaculation, there are a lot of,
because that's our favorite word on the show. So we're up to F. Phallic.
I believe that's a
PH. It is.
Yeah.
No, the second I said it, I'm like, nope, that's a PH. Fancy. Fupa.
I believe while phallic is a PH, fellatio.
Oh yes.
Is an F. I believe.
I believe so as well. We're going to double check that because we don't want to lead y'all astray. Fellatio. I should probably put my phone on like protected mode or whatever.
On secret search.
Fallacious.
To fellate. Fellate. Provide sexual gratification through oral stimulation. To fellate.
But then there's all like fallacious fantasies or fellatio phantasms. Or
I like fellated fantasy.
Fellated fantasy. That just sounds like a really nice word for porn. Like going back to the box under your bed.
Your shoebox full of fellated fantasy.
Fellated fantasy. I like it. I think that's
Do we like fantasy? Is there another
fellated word? Fornications.
Well, we've also got like fornicating funnies.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
Fornicated funnies.
fornicating, fornicating, yeah, funny,
or funny fillatings. Funny fornicatings.
funny fornicatings is better. Yeah,
Funny fornications.
funny fornications.
Funny fornications.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
our
there it
F.
is.
Funny fornications.
Funny fornications.
So we're going to read a little story. Heather is going to provide the funny fornications. Well, we're going to provide them.
What kind of story is this?
I don't know yet.
That's true. We don't.
Before we get to the story, I have some fun facts to
Which
read
goes
for y'all.
with funny fornication. We got FFFFF.
Some funny fornication facts to
We
read
got
for
some
you
funny
all.
fornication fun facts.
Yeah.
That
Fun
sounds like
facts.
the most fun sex ed class that you would ever have in school. That's like taught by the coolest teacher.
Fun fact fornication.
Yes.
Fornication fun facts. This week we have, I believe, a new author.
Okay.
If you recognize this name, please tell me I'm an idiot.
Okay.
It's getting harder and harder to be sure because our definitive list is outdated.
Yeah.
And anyway, I hope we haven't read this story before or this author. We'll see. Anyway, this is Flora Annie Steel.
No, we have not.
Um,
I have not read it. Now, to be fair, I was gone for a while and you read
Right.
stories of other people, but
But I don't think we have.
I won't know it.
And this was, she was born Flora Annie Webster.
I love that she's a F too.
Ooh.
There's so much effing going on in
There
this.
is so much effing going on during this episode.
So much effing.
That's effing comedy.
That's effing fabulous. More. Yep. No, I did that on purpose.
Born in Sudbury, Middlesex, England. As if I needed to clarify that.
I mean, you never know. There's some weird towns in America.
Yeah. She was born in 1847. Her mother was an heiress, and money was never a problem.
Bougie.
Yep. At 20 years old, she married a military officer, English military officer, who was
Lucky
stationed
him.
in India, and they moved there. They moved to India.
Is this the beginning of Secret Garden?
Not to my knowledge.
Just that it's of the time, and any young girl or young boy who read The Secret Garden as a kid or loved the movie, the parents like moved to India. The mom is a rich heiress. The dad is in the military.
Oh,
They have
maybe
the
based on her
child.
life.
They have a child, and then they die, and the child shipped back to her weird uncle. Like, yeah. Anyway, literary fun.
Yay. So they moved to India, and she immediately became enthralled by the people and the culture there, which was obviously very different from the like English heiress high society that she grew up around.
She's a military brat like me.
Yeah. She helped set up things in the country like modern hospitals and schools, and she went around collecting local folklore and fairy tales.
Okay.
In
Fairy tales.
folklore and fairy tales.
Folklore and fairy tales.
In 1884, at 36 years old, for those of you doing the math at home, she wrote her first collection of short stories. Many of her stories are either translations of Indian stories or based on personal experiences with the people she met while living in India.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to get some really fun words during this one, I'm guessing.
Possibly. She was trying to share with the public what life was actually like for the people of the Punjab region, which is the region where they were stationed. Not for better or for worse, just point out that the people there were not just like English people with dark skin and colorful clothes. They were their own culture.
They had been
were
colonized and they had a completely different heritage and like traditions and
Yeah. And she was trying to point out that culture was not going away just because English was like, you're ours now.
Damn right.
Anyway, after 22 years, her family moved back to England, and she started writing for real, like in earnest, at age 42.
Queen.
She
42 queen.
Yeah. So,
that's another F.
So that's when she started settling back into life in the West. She published her second book at that point. Her first book at 36 was a collection of shorts. Her second book came out once she moved back. Mm-hmm. And then over the next 40 years, she lived to be 82. She wrote and published 32 books.
Holy mother.
Ranging from children's stories to an autobiography, and including one of her early successes was a book on cooking and housekeeping in Indian culture in the late 19th century. It was like it was a deep dive into what it was like cooking and keeping house in India.
I love Indian food. Oh, yummy.
She died with her family at her daughter's home in England just 10 days after her 82nd birthday.
It's a nice long life for that early in the eras.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, today you will be reading a short story from 1918.
My great-great-grandmother was 18 years old.
This story is called Dick Whittington and His Cat.
Oh, no.
Let's start this fire.
Dick and his pussy. I'm sorry, but that's what the story's called. I'm sorry. We put out the fire with Ken breaking in half.
That's what we've been missing the last couple of weeks.
She's back, everyone. Let's start this fire.
Oh, Jesus. Let's
start it now. All right, cool. Here we go.
Burn, baby, burn.
Dick and his pussy. Let's go. Dick Whittington and His Cat, otherwise known as Dick and His Pussy, by Flora Annie Steel. More than 500 years ago, there was a little boy named Dick. Why are there always little boys? I feel bad making fun of them. More than 500 years ago? That's a fucking long time ago.
All right. I'm going back in time.
More than 500 years ago, there was a little boy named Dick Whittington. And this is true. His father and mother died when he was too young to work, so poor little Dick... So poor little Dick was very badly off.
Poor little Dick is not the nickname anyone wants.
Even though he is literally poor and little, you don't want anyone calling you poor little Dick. He was quite glad to get the parings of the potatoes to eat and a dry crust of bread now and then. And more than that, he did not often get, for the village where he lived was a very poor one and the neighbors were not able to spare him much.
Oh, poor little Dick is hungry.
Little Dick's hungry. I mean, he's eating a very Irish Irish meal right now. He's eating
dry bread and potatoes.
Potatoes and bread. I mean, I'm not going to lie. That's basically what I eat if no one tells me, Heather, eat healthier. Potatoes and bread.
Yeah.
Now
melt enough cheese on it and it's fine.
It's true. Now, the country folk in those days thought that the people of London were all fine ladies and gentlemen. And that there was singing and dancing all day long. And so rich were they there. That's not how I talk. And so rich.
She's a fancy London person.
It's a person that's not fancy, pretending to be fancy, I guess. And so rich were they there that even the streets, they said, were paved with gold. It does help when you read it in a kind of British, highfalutin, foo-foo accent.
Just try to be a little posh and maybe a little drunk.
Okay, I'll have some more wine. Dick used to sit by and listen while all these strange tales of the wealth of London were told. and it made him long to go and live there and have plenty to eat and fine clothes to wear, instead of the rags and hard fare that fell to his lot in the country.
It made him long.
It made Dick long. So one day, it does help to use this accent. So one day, when a great wagon with 8 horses stopped on its way through the village, Dick made friends with the wagoner and begged to be taken with him to London. The man felt sorry for poor little Dick. This poor kid.
Poor little Long Dick.
Poor little Long Dick. I mean, it's an oxymoron, isn't it? Like, I don't even know.
It could be.
Oh, no. This is a child. But it was 500 years ago, so whatever. But it's true.
Yeah, he's old now.
But it's true.
It's okay. He's dead now.
Yes, there you go. There you go. The man felt sorry for poor little Dick when he heard that he had no father or mother to take care of him, and saw how ragged and how badly in need of help he was. So he agreed to take him, and off they set. You know, nothing starts a good adventure like a creepy man with a wagon and a poor little Dick. Sounds like a Republican's fantasy. I said it. She said what she said, y'all.
Another one was arrested for soliciting a minor today.
Yep. No drag queens in sight. Okay, anyway, back to Dick. How far it was and how many days they took over the journey, I do not know. But in due time, Dick found himself in the wonderful city which he had heard so much of and pictured to himself so grandly. But oh, how disappointed he was when he got there. How dirty it was. It's like the first time you go to New York. It's like, oh.
Yep.
This place kind of stinks.
The airport's nice, and so long as you only look at the lights in Times Square, it's pretty cool. But once you get past that, it's sort of just gross and smelly.
Yeah, and gray.
And too many people, and none of them fucking walk fast enough.
Except for real New Yorkers, which, if you're near Times Square, there aren't any.
Which there aren't many of.
Unless they're going to work like we are. How dirty it was, and the people, how unlike the gay company with music and singing. There's plenty of gay company in New York. That's the only reason I really go back, is to visit my gays.
And there's usually music and singing.
And there usually is when I hang with my friends and my love gays. I love them. You know who you are. Unlike the gay company with music and singing that he had dreamt of. He's just not down. He's not in Chelsea yet. He's the wrong. Well,
he's
I guess
in the wrong
he's
part
in
of
London.
town.
He's in London. I don't know where the gayborhood is in London. I'm not familiar. If you are of the London persuasion, actually Jesse probably knows. He lived there for a couple months because he did his cabaret there. So if you're listening, Jesse, tell me where the gayborhood is in London. It might be Chelsea as well. There's a Chelsea in London,
yeah.
He wandered up and down the streets, one after another, until he was tired out. But not one did he find that was paved with gold. Dirt in plenty, he could see, but none of the gold that he thought to have put in his pockets as fast as he chose to pick it up. Little Dick ran about until he was tired and it was growing dark. And at last, he sat himself down in a corner and fell asleep. That's not safe. I don't recommend. You know who's going to find him? Fagin and Oliver and all like, you've got to pick a pocket or two, boys.
Or a kitty.
Or a kitty cat. Oh, yeah, that's right. We're talking about his pussy. That's right. When morning came, he was very hungry and... When morning came, he was very cold and hungry, and though he asked everyone who he met to help him, only 1 or 2 gave him a halfpenny to buy some bread. For 2 or 3 days he lived in the streets in this way, only just able to keep himself alive. When he managed to get some work to do in a hayfield, and that kept him for a short time longer, till the haymaking was over.
All right, so he's doing...
child labor.
Yeah, he's temping.
He's temping. He's in Iowa and in the Midwest, it's detasseling corn.
Yeah.
They don't check your ID there to this day. You do not have to be of an age. You show up, You make your money. After this, he was as badly off as ever and did not know where to turn. I don't know what this dialect is, but it's like this.
It comes and goes.
It's like British-y.
It's we call
it's
that
of a time.
We call that Brit-ish.
Brit-ish? One day in his wanderings, he lay down to rest in the doorway of a house of a rich merchant whose name was Fitzwarren. Of course it was. Fitzwarren, straight out of a Jane Austen.
Yep. In my head, it's Daddy Warbucks.
I mean, Fitzwilliam is the last name of Darcy, isn't it?
First name.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Fitzwilliam Darcy, yeah.
Because Fitzwilliam's such a great first name. No wonder he was so odd. But at least his name wasn't Little Dick.
Little Dick Darcy.
Little Dick Darcy. I mean, he kind of is a little dick for the play or the book.
Yeah.
You think he is. You think he's a little dick.
He's just
awkward.
clinically.
We have words for that now, but they didn't understand it then. But here he was soon seen by the cookmaid, who was an unkind, bad-tempered woman, and she cried out to him to be off. Lazy rogue, she called him, and she said she'd precious quick throw some dirty dishwasher over it. God damn it.
She's gonna throw a dishwasher at him?
What a bitch. Also strong as fuck.
Apparently. Unless it's just one of those like wash. Well,
it's
no, that would
like
be
a wash bin because I mean it's the 1800s, or I guess it's the early 1900s. So
no, it's not because it was written
500
years ago. It's like 1400.
Oh shit. Okay, so we're like before Shakespeare here.
Which also
London is gross.
Yeah, which also means I believe this is before potatoes have come over from the New World.
Whoopsie. Someone didn't do their research. Dirty. Okay. She called after him, this bitch. The bitchy cookmaid called after him and said she'd precious quick throw some dirty dishwater over him, boiling hot if he didn't go. That is some child abuse.
That's, yeah.
What the fuck,
That's a
lady?
crime.
What the hell? However, just then, Mr. Fitzwarren himself came home to dinner, and when he saw what was happening, he asked Dick why he was lying there.
Hey, Dick, why are you just lying there? Come on.
Wake up.
Can't you get up?
You're young. You're old enough to be at work, my boy. Is that what you say to your Dick?
Come on. You're old enough to be working.
Get it together. You're old enough to be at work, my boy, he said. I'm afraid you have a mind to be lazy. I hate rich people. Fucking asshole. Indeed, sir, said Dick to him. Indeed, that is not so. And he told him how hard he had tried to get work to do and how ill he was for want of food. Dick, poor fellow, was now so weak that though he tried to stand, he had to lie down again, for it was more than 3 days since he had anything to eat at all. The kind merchant gave orders for him to be taken into the house and gave him a good dinner.
Very Daddy Warbucks.
Yeah, that was nice. And then he said he was to be kept to do what work he could to help the cook. That fucking bitch. She's like, I'm gonna throw you out with the fucking shit. And then now it's like,
hey, lady.
This is your new intern. She's like, fuck. And now Dick would have been happy enough in this good family if it had not been for the ill-natured cook who did her best to make life a burden to him. What a bitch. She's not rich either.
Throw the dishwater on her.
Yeah, throw scalding hot dishwater on her or a cat, like with his claws. Throw your pussy at her. She needs some cheering up.
Maybe that is the issue.
Baby, I'm a giver. If you don't know what that reference was, you should go download The Giver by Chappell Roan right now. Not an official sponsor. Yet. Night and morning, she was forever scolding him. Nothing he did was good enough. It was, "Look sharp here and hurry up there," and there was no pleasing her. And many's the beating he had from the broomstick or the ladle or whatever else had in her hand. What a fucking see you next Tuesday.
Throw her in the boiling dishwater. It'll be funny.
Go to a witch's place and have him put a curse on her.
Maybe that's where his cat comes from. It's a witch's familiar.
Or Dick just becomes a wizard or a witch and just like lives and
Gets his own
best
familiar.
life. At last it came to the ears of Miss Alice, Mr. Fitzwarren's daughter, how badly the cook was treating poor Dick. The cook's not into Dick.
That's fine. Not everyone is.
Throw a pussy at her. She'll feel better. And she told the cook that she would quickly lose her place if she didn't treat him more kindly, for Dick had become quite a favorite with the family.
Everyone else in the family likes Dick, just not the cook.
Just not the cook. Get up, bitch. You don't even have to like Dick. You can just respect it a little bit.
Just ignore it. Ignoring it is fine.
Just ignore it. Just have it do the work and move on with your life. It's not worth the hate. Just let it go. After that, the cook's behavior was a little better, but Dick still had another hardship that he bore with difficulty. For he slept in a garret where were so many holes in the walls and the floor that every night, as he lay in bed, the room was overrun with rats and mice.
Aww.
Oh my God.
Gross.
And sometimes he could hardly sleep a wink.
Well, yeah.
Okay, everyone who knows me, including you, know that I love the little cripply, crawly, cutie creatures. I love them all. I would not want to sleep on a floor with a bunch of mice crawling all over me, especially in 1400s England as the plague is getting ready to come to us.
Yeah.
Like, good Lord.
No, like, I think the only furry I enjoy crawling up in bed is Lina.
Oh, I was like, whoa. Like furries in your bed? We have not discussed this, my darling.
No, no thank you,
No.
mice, rats. I certainly
No.
didn't like it when the raccoons tried to climb into our tent. No, thank you very much.
One literally chewed a hole in said tent, but yes. No, Lina's the only fuzzy butt I want in my bed.
But when a cat wants to curl up with you, that's a whole different thing.
Well, this is where we're going to get the pussy, because the pussy's going to come in and be like, no more mice.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all coming to light.
It's all coming.
It's all coming to light for Dick. So there's rats and mice running over him, so he can't sleep a wink. One day, when he had earned a penny for cleaning a gentleman's shoes, he met a little girl with a cat in her arms. It's a euphemism.
Yep.
It's a girl with a pussy. It's like, come on. A girl with her cat in her arms and asked whether she could not sell it to him. She said, "Yeah." Oh, there. Yes, she said. No, that's not what it says. Yes, she would, she said. That's more difficult than I wanted it to be. Also, who the fuck walks up to someone and just like, "Can I buy your cat?" If someone walked up and asked to buy Lina, I would like spit in their eye and be like, "You fucking kidding me? Go sleep with the rats."
Unless it's a euphemism. And it's like, hey, can I buy your kitty? And then it's probably going to be more than a penny.
And then it's also like illegal. Technically.
Not in 1400s London.
That's very true. That's very true. And we're solidly before Jack the Ripper here, so yes. Okay, so she says, yes, she would, she said, though the cat was such a good mouser that she was sorry to part with her. This just suited Dick, who... Pause. Oh my God, I read ahead just enough, and okay. This just suited Dick, who kept pussy up in his garret.
Get
so
it, little Dick.
It literally is Dick and his pussy. It's. I didn't even make that up. That's what's written in the story. So Dick now has a pussy trapped up in his house.
Wait.
Now, to be fair, this pussy is a cat. We think. All right. So Dick,
Presumably.
so this just suited Dick, who kept Pussy up in his garret, feeding her on scraps of his own dinner that he saved for her every day. Okay, that's actually very sweet. When you remember it's a cat.
When you remember it's a cat, and this isn't some creepy, what's that movie, Boxing Helena?
What? I don't even want to know. Okay.
Yeah, never mind. There will be two people listening who know what that is.
Oh, no. I mean, I listen to true crime, so it's,
I mean, it's a movie.
Yeah. In a little while, he had no more bother with the rats and mice. Puss soon saw that, and he slept sound every night.
Yay.
Oh, they're best friends. Soon after this, Mr. Fitzwarren had a ship ready to sail, and as it was his custom that all his servants should be given a chance of good fortune as well as himself, he called them all into the counting house and asked them what they would send out. They all had something that they were willing to venture, except poor Dick, who had neither money nor goods, and so could send nothing. For this reason, he did not come into the room with the rest, but Miss Alice guessed what was the matter and ordered him to be called in, and then said, "I will lay down some money for him out of my own purse." But her father told her that would not do, for it must be something of his own. That's fucking rude. So you want me to, basically, gamble with the one thing I own in the world, which is apparently this cat?
Which is this cat.
When Dick heard this, he said, "I have nothing whatsoever but a cat, which I bought for a penny some time ago." "Go, my boy, fetch your cat then," said, "Go get your pussy then," said his master, "and let her go." I would seriously, kick this guy in the shins and...
Yeah, absolutely not.
No.
My kitty cat.
First of all, it's the one thing he ever bought. Also, get your own fucking ship cat. There's a reason there were cats on ships, is to keep the mice away, but this man's rich as shit. What's he gonna do with a cat? You gonna sell it?
I don't know.
What?
For a penny?
Or I don't even want to know. Dick went upstairs and fetched poor Puss, but there were tears in his eyes when he gave her to the captain. I don't like this story anymore. "For," he said, "I shall now be kept awake all night by the rats and mice." All the company laughed at Dick's odd venture, and Miss Alice, who felt sorry for him, gave him some money to buy another cat. That's not how it works! These people don't understand.
People are stupid.
These are your fuzzy butts. And why does that evil, stupid man... I hate him. Now this, and other marks of kindness shown him by Miss Alice, made the ill-tempered cook jealous of poor Dick, and she began to use him more cruelly than ever, and was always making game of him for sending his cat to sea. "What do you think your cat will sell for?" she'd ask. "As much money as would buy a stick to beat you with." This lady is a and you can put that meow sound in there right now and it even makes sense. Yep. At last, poor Dick could not bear this usage any longer, and he thought he would run away. So he made a bundle of his things, he hadn't many, and started very early in the morning on All Hallows Day. Is Pussy all black?
We don't know. Has not been described.
On All Hallows Day, the 1st of November, he walked as far as Holloway, and there he sat down to rest on a stone, which to this day, they say, is called Whittington's Stone, and began to wonder to himself which road he should take. I don't like that it's called this. Is he going to die there?
I don't know.
I'm so stressed out because this little boy lost his cat, and now he's sitting on a stone that is named after him.
I'm getting nervous that this is going to be like a little Match Girl story, and everybody's sad in the end.
I know. Well, it is like Dickens era.
Yeah.
Shit. While he was thinking what he should do, the bells of Bow Church in Cheapside began to chime. I know Cheapside is where Jack the Ripper did a lot of his doings.
In 400
in 400 years, but I don't think it was ever a fancy part of town. it's called Cheapside.
It's also where can't remember his last name, but where William in Knight's Tale is from.
Oh yeah,
Thatcher.
Probably about this time, 1400s jousting.
It might be a little earlier.
Maybe a little earlier, yeah. Anyway, where he is now sitting on this stone, listening to the bells ring. While he was thinking what he should do, the bells of Bow Church in Cheapside began to chime, and as they rang, he fancied that they were singing over and over again, "Turn again, Whittington, Lord Mayor of London." Uh-oh, now he's, like, freaking, like,
now he's having delusions of public office.
Of grandeur. "Lord Mayor of London," he said to himself. "Why, to be sure, wouldn't I put up with almost anything now to be Lord Mayor of London?" And
Mayor Goldie Wilson. I like the sound of that.
There you go. "To be Lord Mayor of London and ride in a fine coach when I grown to be a man. Well, I'll go back and think nothing of the cuffing and scolding of the cross old cook if I'm to be the Lord Mayor of London at last." That was a big jump he made. From, like, I'm running away from this family that kind of takes care of me to, I'm going to be the fucking mayor.
"Someday I will be mayor. You wait and see, Mr. Carruthers.
Yeah.
I'll be mayor and I'm going to clean up this town." Good. You can start by sweeping the floors.
So back he went, and he was lucky enough to get into the house and set about his work before the cook came down. So basically he's like, buckle up your seatbelt, bitch. Stay with this family and you're going to rise up.
That's a hell of a leap of faith.
That really is.
It sounded like the bells called me mayor, so I'm going to go back to
my
the
abusive, like, boss and the one woman who kind of treats me nicely. And the guy who stole my cat. But now you must hear what befell Mrs. Puss all this time.
Yes.
Hey, at least they gave it a proper name. The ship Unicorn. Oh, it's a unicorn. The ship Unicorn that she was on was a long time at sea, and the cat made herself useful, as she would, among the unwelcome rats that lived on board, too. Yeah, see, I'm not an idiot. You always have a ship on... You always have a cat on a ship.
Oh, you always have a cat on a ship, yeah.
Like...
They keep the vermin down.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, that's a huge thing. I mean, I am a pirate. I'm aware. At last, the ship put into harbor on the coast of Barbary, where the only people are the Moors. Okay, so they have sailed to Africa, I'm guessing.
Barbary, yeah.
Yeah, and the Moors as in, like, Othello.
Mm-hmm.
They had never before seen a ship from England. Run the fuck away. Just kill them all and get out of there. They had never before seen a ship from England and flocked in numbers to see the sailors, whose different color and foreign dress were of great wonder to them. They were soon eager to buy the goods with which the ship was laden, and patterns were sent ashore for the king to see. He was so much pleased with them that he sent for the captain to come to the palace and honored him with an invitation to dinner. But no sooner were they seated, as in the custom there, on the fine rugs and carpets that covered the floor, the great numbers of rats and mice came scampering in, swarming over all the dishes and helping themselves from all the good things that were to eat. The captain was amazed and wondered whether they didn't find such a pest most unpleasant. "Oh, yes," said they, "it was so, and the king would give half his treasure to be freed of them, for they not only spoil his dinner, but they even attack him in his bed at night, so that a watch has to be kept while he is sleeping, for fear of them." The captain was overjoyed. He thought at once of poor Dick Whittington and his cat, and said he had a creature on board ship that would soon do for all these vermin if she were there. Of course, when the king heard this, he was eager to possess this wonderful pussy. It says animal, but I had to say it. "Bring it to me at once," he said, "for the vermin are dreadful, and if only it will do what you say, I will load your ship with gold and jewels in exchange for it." Dick Whittington's about to be rich as shit. The captain, who knew his business, took care not to underrate the value of Dick's cat. Or of Dick's pussy. You
should never underrate the value of a pussy.
No, never. That's fucking right. That's right. He told His Majesty how inconvenient it would be to part with her, as when she was gone, the rats might destroy the goods in the ship. However, to oblige the king, he would fetch her. "Oh, do make haste, do!" cried... Oh, that's a woman. "Oh, do make haste, do!" cried the queen. "I, too, am all impatient to see this dear creature." Off went the captain, while another dinner got ready. He took Puss under his arm and got back to the palace just in time to see the carpet covered with rats and mice once again. When Puss saw them, she didn't wait to be told, but jumped out of the captain's arms, and in no time almost all the rats and mice were dead at her feet, while the rest of them had scuttled off to their holes in fright.
Appetizing.
Yes. I love a bunch of dead mice carcasses while I'm eating
Carpet
dinner.
covered in dead rats. Yum. I suppose technically better than carpet covered in living rats.
I don't know. The king was delighted to get rid so easily of such an intolerable plague, and the queen desired that the animal who had done them such a service might be brought to her, upon which the captain called out, "Puss, Puss, Puss!" Her name is Miss Puss. Thank you, Mrs. Puss. Thank you very much.
Is that where ps, 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 ps comes from?
I mean...
Is it just shortening puss, puss, puss? Ps, ps, ps.
Pretty much, yeah. You're right. And Lina loves when I go... So, puss, 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 she said, coming running, upon which the captain called out, "Puss, puss, puss," and she came running to him.
It's hard to do that while running.
It is. Then he presented her to the queen, who was rather afraid at first to touch a creature who had made such a havoc with her claws. I know, it's scary when you see your first pussy.
It's frightening to...
There's a lot going on.
Reach out and touch.
Reach out and touch face.
You're not sure which direction to pet it.
Yeah.
You don't want to go against the fur.
You're like, that one looks scary.
You hope its teeth aren't too sharp.
However, when the captain called her "Pussy, Pussy," and began to stroke her, the queen almost also ventured to touch her and cried, "Putty, Putty." So we're just having a fucking orgy here, apparently. Touch her and cried, "Putty, Putty," in imitation of the captain, for she hadn't quite learned to speak English.
What happens on the Barbary Coast stays on the Barbary Coast.
He then put her on top of the queen's lap, where she purred and played with Her Majesty's hand and was soon asleep. Yeah, after I play... Never mind.
Go right to bed.
If you use your hand good on that pussycat, you go right to bed. With a smile on your face. The king, having seen what Mrs. Puss could do, and learning that her kittens would soon stock the whole country, well, you need another kitty for that.
You need at least one more before that's going to happen.
Could soon stock the whole country and keep it free from rats after bargaining with the captain for the whole ship's cargo, then gave him 10 times as much for the cat as all the rest amounted to. The captain then said farewell to the court of Barbary, and after a fair voyage reached London again with his precious load of gold and jewels safe and sound. One morning early, Mr. Fitzwarren had just come to his counting house and settled himself at the desk to count the cash when there came a knock at the door. "Who's there?" said he. "A friend," replied a voice. "I come with good news of your ship, the Unicorn." The merchant in haste opened the door, and who were there but the ship's captain and the mate, bearing a chest of jewels and a bill of lading. Lading?
I assume
A bill of sale, like a bill of trade?
Yeah, it's from the same root word as laden.
Yeah.
Lading, the action or process of loading a ship or other vessel with cargo.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's the bill of all of the shit that was sold.
Yeah. When he had looked this over, he lifted his eyes and thanked heaven for sending him such a prosperous voyage. I didn't realize he wasn't even on the voyage. He just sent a bunch of his shit on a boat and was like, "Go see what you can get for this."
Yeah, pretty much.
That's wild. Old-timey is weird.
That's what businessmen do. They don't actually go. They're just like, here's $10. Go sell me shit.
Or go buy me shit that's going to make me money. Yeah, you're right. The honest captain next told him all about the cat and showed him the rich present the king had sent for her to poor Dick. Dick ain't so poor no more.
Nope.
Rejoicing on behalf of Dick as much as he had done over his own good fortune, he's rejoicing over Dick.
Pretty soon, little Dick's going to be Fat Dick.
He's going to be Rich Dick. Thick Dick.
Gonna get nice and plump.
Wow, we really...
Plush.
People said they missed the penis jokes, and then you give me a story called Dick and His Pussy. I mean, goddamn. Hey! He called out to his servants to come and bring up Dick. "Go fetch him, and we'll tell him of his fame. Pray, call him Mr. Whittington by name."
Ooh, and now it rhymes.
Yes.
A little rhyming couplet.
Yeah. "Go fetch him, and we'll tell him of his fame. Pray, call him Mr. Whittington by name."
That's because back in the 15th century, everyone spoke in rhyming iambic
couplets.
Couplets,
Yes. Shakespeare. The servants, some of them, hesitated at this and said so great a treasure was too much for a lad like Dick. But Mr. Fitzwarren now showed himself the good man that he was and refused to deprive him of the value of a single penny. "God forbid," he cried. "It's all his own, and he shall have it to a farthing."
Fuck yeah.
Oh, this guy's great. He was kind of an asshole at first, but I mean, he was kind of like a dick and like, "You should be working." And the kid's like, "But I can't." And he's like, "You work here then."
Mm-hmm.
So very much Daddy Warbucks now, except Dick made all his own money.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And he was like, "I don't have anything. I guess here's my cat." And since that's the one thing that made real money.
Yeah. He then sent for Dick, who at the moment was scouring pots for the cook and was black with dirt. He tried to excuse himself from coming into the room in such a plight, but the merchant made him come and had a chair set for him. And he had began to think they must be making game of him. So he begged them not to play tricks on a poor, simple boy, but to let him go downstairs again back to his work in the scullery. This poor little boy. "Indeed, Mr. Whittington," said the merchant, "we are all quite in earnest with you, and I most heartily rejoice at the news that these gentlemen have brought. For the captain has sold your cat to the King of Barbary, and brings you in return for her more riches than I possess in the world, and may you long enjoy them." Mr. Fitzwarren then told the men to open the great treasure that they had brought with them, saying, "There is nothing more now for Mr. Whittington to do but to put it in some place of safety." Nah, that's bad. Poor Dick hardly knew how to behave himself for joy. He begged his master to take what part of it he pleased, since he owed it all to his kindness. "No, no," answered Mr. Fitzwarren. "This all belongs to you, and I have no doubt that you will use it well." This is how a gambler is born. The one time he like places a bet. He
hits it big, and now he's just going to gamble for the rest of his life.
Shit. Dick next begged his mistress and then Miss Alice to accept a part of his good fortune, but they would not, and at the same time told him what great joy they felt in his great success. But he was far too kind-hearted to keep it all to himself, so he made a present to the captain, the mate, and the rest of Mr. Fitzwarren's servants, and even his old enemy, the cross cook. It's so cute.
This is Ebenezer Scrooge backwards.
Yeah, right. After this, Mr. Fitzwarren advised him to send for a tailor and get himself dressed like a gentleman, and told him that he was welcome to live in his house till he could provide himself with a better. When Whittington's face was washed, his hair curled, and he was dressed in a smart suit of clothes, he was just as handsome and fine a young man who had ever visited Mr. Fitzwarren's, and so thought fair Alice Fitzwarren. Oh, shit! That's why she was so nice to him. She's like, who's this hot poor boy in the kitchen? I got poor boy fever.
I'm gonna put in the work now so that.
Because I see that boy is going places.
I see potential.
Yeah. She looked upon him and so thought fair Alice Fitzwarren, who had once been so kind to him and looked upon him with pity. And now she felt he was quite fit to be her sweetheart. And nonetheless, no doubt, because Whittington was always thinking what he could do to please her.
Yeah, he was.
And making her the prettiest presents that could be. Well, he is good with his pussy, we know. Mr. Fitzwarren soon saw the way the wind blew, and ere long proposed to join them in marriage, and to this they both readily agreed. A day for... Wow, Dick, how old is this kid now? I mean, it's the 1400s. They're like
He's 11.
14. Yeah. A day for the wedding was soon fixed, and they were attended to church by the Lord Mayor, the Count of Aldermen, the sheriffs, and a great number of the richest merchants in London, whom they afterwards treated with a magnificent feast. History tells us that Mr. Whittington and his lady lived in great splendor and were very happy. They had several children. He was sheriff and thrice Lord Mayor of London, and received the honor of knighthood from Henry V. All right. Yeah, Shakespeare. There we go. After the king's conquest of France, Sir Richard Whittington entertained him and the queen at dinner at the mansion house in so scrumptious a manner that the king said, "Never had prince such a subject," to which Sir Richard replied, "Never had subject such a prince." The end. I wish he'd gotten his pussy back.
Maybe he does.
I guess he does get a pussy back. It's just it's an actual pussy.
Well, maybe he uses some of his riches. This is going to be my headcanon.
Oh,
he uses some of his money to, once everything is established, sail to Barbary. And he's like, "Hey, my cat who came and had a bunch of kittens. You're good with the kittens now, right? Can I have my cat back?"
My key back? Yeah.
Yeah. And so Mrs. Puss came back to London.
That's the only thing I would edit, because the rest is so great.
Yeah, that's lovely.
That is a fucking like rags to riches story for the ages.
Hell
right
yeah.
there.
And sure enough, King Henry was king in the early 1400s.
Yeah.
So that is absolutely when this story is taking place.
Yep. Oh, I love a story about a dick and his pussy. That's a good one.
Especially when it has a happy ending.
It has a very happy ending indeed. Well, y'all, you missed me for a few weeks, and she came back with a bang. Hey!
Bangity bang. You said a bang, bang, bangity bang.
Bang, 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 bang. Bangity bang. You said a bang, bang, bangity bang.
So, I hope you liked that story, listeners. Thanks for coming back and hanging in there with us. Write in. Let us know what your thoughts were about that episode, about that story, about Flora Annie Steel and Mr. Whittington, and really anything else you want to talk about.
Your bookshelves.
Yeah, send us pictures of your bookshelves or your library screen on your Kindle or whatever else. Let us know what you're reading these days. Send us that email to 5050artsproduction@gmail.com or message us on any of the social media or however else you want to get a hold of us. And and include this week's secret passcode, which is Poor Little Dick.
Poor little Dick.
I think that's everything. You got anything?
That's all I got.
All right. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that one as much as we did. So that's it. It's been a fun week. And until next time, this has been Campfire Classics, where we try to read those books that look really good on your shelf.
What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's new, pussycat? Make me so rich. You and your pussycat face. That song's nasty.
That got really creepy.
That's my sexy voice.
But I could also see your face.
That's my sexy face.
I promise you it wasn't.
Bye, everyone.